Okay, we are live. Or we
Are
should
we
be.
live?
It looks like it.
Oh, yeah, I see mine popping up now.
You
Oh, you
do?
got me way zoomed in.
I know,
Zoom
but
me out.
you're the star of the show. I figured you want to be right up there. Okay, look at that. You even got a good picture. I'm never good at putting a picture or anything online.
That's why I said I'd rather be in the garage. Like, at least stare at the car a little instead of us.
Well, you got that too, but the fact that, and I'll unzoom you a moment. Just let me work on that. I just want to make sure everyone's content.
Why
And
is it like, I don't, it's so weird how it like gets worse.
what does?
It's like a funhouse mirror. Like, you move the way you think you should move and it gets worse.
Yeah. Well, I'm either going to move you or you're going to move yourself. I'll zoom you out.
Yeah, zoom me out and then it should be not that big a deal. It's also the delay that messes with you. See, like that, like I moved over like a minute ago. All right, so whenever you want, actually, you can pull up the order guide and stuff. Whoever's already in here, guys, we're gonna pull up. Let me close the garage too, because my neighbor's weed eating out there. But we're gonna pull up the order guide and pricing sheet and start digging right into it. One second. And to close the other garage door with the neighbor over there weed eating. Thought
How,
he'd be done by now.
how dare they do that? There we
The
go.
background got a lot darker. Hopefully,
Yeah, but no, you look just fine. Pull up the order guide.
there
Okay.
you go. All right,
Now,
so yeah, you can pull up the order sheet.
yep, I'm just
Start
gonna
digging
have
into
to.
it.
I'm going to. I need to just make that happen.
Where's my live chat?
Screen capture. Add. Let me configure this. Selection. Select screen region. Wait, let me cancel it.
It's freaking hot in here.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like 85.
So we got the price list, and then the next thing is the order guide. All right, give me one
Take
second
it
to
up
get.
first. I still got the delay.
Yep. Give me a second to get these things the same size so when I capture it, it'll be right. And
Oh, I think he might be done.
who?
Hopefully he's done.
Oh, him weeding?
Yeah.
Select region. Okay, so let me get this.
What's up, Dallas? You can't hear me well, or you can't hear me at all?
God damn it.
Dallas says he can't hear me.
Hold on.
Hopefully it doesn't start that crap again.
Right. Let me forget this screen capture then for a second. And go to you, Steve. Say something.
Something.
What about now?
I mean, I can. Yeah, they're saying they can't hear me at all.
All right, we'll give it. I mean, I just made the
We
change.
might have to. Yeah, we might just have to shut it. Remember last time we ended up messing around. Might just have to restart it, shut it down, and restart it.
Hold on. Hold on. Steve is here. All right, wait. I think I might have found the button I needed to have. Keep talking. Make sure. I mean, obviously, I can hear you. Make sure they can hear you.
Well, they can't hear me.
You can hear them through the
Huh?
YouTube.
I can hear who?
Christina can hear you, and she's in the other room on YouTube. So you should be good to go.
Oh, she can hear me on my channel or on your channel?
On your channel.
She's on my channel watching?
Wait a minute. That's a good point. Am I which on my channel, honey?
Yeah, my cousin says he hears me. I don't know.
So we're good, right?
Yeah, I guess so. All right, pull up the order guide.
We're good.
Oh no, he says I'm back now. Okay, good. I guess we're good. Maybe whatever you fucked with fixed
All
it.
right.
So
So yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I can only do a half a thing at one time, and I need
order.
to do four of them. So we got it. So let me get that situated, and make sure I save that, and then okay. Let me get the order guide and anyone.
Which one you pulling up first, the pricing or the ordering guide?
Um, whichever you like. I just got to make that screen capture, and everybody
Whichever
welcome
one you
to.
pull up quicker, that's the one I want you to pull up.
They're both wide open. I just got to figure out which one I can. Well, I got to make things hard on me, dude. Now I'm all I'm all
Putting the
shaking.
pressure on. The pressure is on. Everybody's watching. You
My
can hear a pin
goodness.
drop.
Let me see. Screen capture. So we're going to do a window. Preview. Bam. Let me see if I got that.
I'll see it in like 10 minutes.
There you go. Now, why can't I see?
Is it up?
It's
All
up,
right,
but
yeah,
I
what do we
gotta
got?
get it somehow. I don't have.
Spit it out.
I'm trying. Oh, I need to crop it, I guess, to fit the 8.5 by 11. That's the problem.
Oh, it's fine. Just scroll up to the top. We can see it
Dude,
fine.
don't
It's
you
like,
understand? It's scrolled. I can't go. I have to make a.
oh, okay. I thought you meant like how it wasn't fitting on the ends.
No, it's just that I can't get to the top here. So I just need to get to. There are like 6 million different things I can do. So you have to understand that. Um, is that big enough, you think? Or do I need to make it.
I mean, it's big enough. I just can't see the top. What's above? Okay, this is the 350R, except for, oh no, this is the new, what's new for 2020 stuff. That's what
Right.
that
Let me
is.
see if I could scale it bigger.
So at the top of this page, if I remember correctly, actually, you know what would be helpful? I'm going to pull it up on my phone so I can look at it with you.
There.
And
I
that
just.
way
Can you see it now, Steve? I should have the whole page.
you have to give me like 5 seconds because of the delay. Yes, I can. Now I can see it.
Okay. That's what I needed to
Let me
do.
go full screen on mine. Try to go back and check the chat.
Anyway, while he's doing that, I want to say welcome, everybody. It's been a while, but this was a topic we could not pass up. And I think there's going to be some great information, as well as some good information that I'll learn because there's a lot I don't know with this. And top it all off, I might even get Steve cranked up. Never know. See.
You always get me cranked up.
I know.
Got me cranked up earlier.
That's why you haven't talked to me in 3 weeks. You
No.
need to detox from me. And I understand.
No.
I understand.
All right, so on this page here, this is basically major product changes for 2020. So nothing really too much on this page that I think that we all haven't already seen or already know about. The late availability on 350R and GT500, that just means third quarter availability most likely, so late fall by the time they actually hit dealers. Let's see, mechanical new. So yeah, that's nothing we don't know. 5.2 cross plane engine, and then 7-speed dual clutch transmission. Exterior, all the colors we've already seen before: black, red, blue, gray, ebony, bright white, Kona blue, absolute black, Oxford white. I don't know why it says Kona. Oh, because those are the over the top racing stripes. I was getting ahead of myself there. New colors for 2020. We all know Grabber Lime, Iconic Silver, the Rapid Red Metallic. That's a badass color. And the Twist. I mean, they're all badass colors. But I really like that Rapid Red on the GT500, as well as
Yeah.
the Iconic Silver. I don't know, which we could probably pull up here later in the stream. But if you guys have seen a lot of those silver pictures going around with the black stripes with the tinted windows, that thing looks freaking amazing.
Is that the same color as what they had up on that canopy or whatever that was when you guys were in Detroit? Is that the same
It
silver?
is, but that car, I mean, really, we didn't even that the way you saw it was the way we saw it. They never brought that car down. I think the next day after me and Xander left Detroit, I think I heard they may have brought it down. But while we were there, it wasn't down. I couldn't even see if that car had stripes at the, it was so high above us. So I'm not sure if that was the same car, and I can't remember if it had tinted windows or not. Lime with black. Just looking over some content. Um, as far as dealer, I've had a dealer lined up for over 2 years now. Um, I have the allocation lined up. However, even though we've discussed that they are going to take care of me, we really haven't discussed. Well, we have discussed it, but we haven't came to an exact number on how much over sticker or how close to sticker they're going to get. Lock me in for. Um, but we'll get into that in a little bit with the pricing release today. And as you guys all know, I'm getting a track pack car, and that's the only way I pretty much have it. That like I don't see these cars going for. And again, we'll get into this in a little bit. I want to go over the order guide, but I don't see these cars pulling markups the same way the 350Rs did at all. I just don't see it happening. And like I said, we'll get into that a little more here in a minute. So yeah, you could probably scroll down now a little. Mike,
Page 2?
yeah, page 2. I'm trying to flip along with you because it's kind of hard to read that in the comments.
Right. Okay, so we're at mechanical. I was thinking
You
of
should
getting
be
rid
at
of our
standard
faces and
equipment.
just focusing on the guide. What about that? Does that help us?
What's that?
Should I get rid of our faces for now?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
Let me
thought.
try mine first.
As long as it doesn't take 15 minutes.
No, it
But I
should
could
be the
still talk
simple
about it
click of a
anyway. So go ahead
button.
and go ahead and mess with it.
All right,
So
got rid of
standard
it.
equipment,
Got
and
rid of
this
my
is
face.
a lot of this is kind of new information. Some of it was kind of common sense, but it's at least it's all here in writing now. Standard equipment, as far as mechanical, we have the aluminum front bumper beam. That's the same front bumper beam that's on the GT350, so no surprise there. Um, actually, no, you need to go. I'm sorry. Before we get ahead of ourselves again, you actually have to go to page 4 because this is just GT350.
Oh, you're right. I'm glad
Yeah.
someone's paying attention because
I
I'm
did the
not.
same thing earlier when I was reading over the order guide. I got all excited when I read that you can get red stitched seats and interior, and I'm like, oh hell yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
you were
then I
probably like 6 speed Tremec. Awesome. Wait a minute.
yeah. All right, so you took away your face and left mine. That's
Well,
fine.
I mean,
That's fine. That's fine.
someone's got to suffer. It might as well be me.
All right,
All right,
so
I'm getting a request to zoom a little bit. Let me try
so now we're
to.
on. This is page 4, correct? Because okay, I can see
Yes,
it.
page
Actually.
4, which is GT500. I'm going to
Okay.
try to zoom this for the folks here because they're asking. It's a little difficult for them to see.
That's why I figured I'd kind of go over and read with everybody. But again, so back in the same category, mechanical. This is standard equipment on the GT500. Aluminum front bumper beam. Again, same one from the GT350. Brembo 6-piston calipers. Those are the biggest brakes I've ever seen in my life. Composite carbon fiber drive shaft. I'm not sure if that was confirmed or not before, but it was suspected by me and a few other people. But that seems to be confirmed here, which is awesome. I do have a carbon fiber drive shaft on the 350R here, and they're not cheap, so I'm glad to see that it's already on the GT500. Electronic parking brake. That's why we see the secondary caliper on the rear there now. Cross plane crank V8, yeah, we already know. Engine oil, transmission, and differential cooler. So we know that'll be standard on across the range on GT500. So you won't have, the base guys trying to bring the cars out on track and end up overheating and finding out they wasted their money.
Right.
Um, what else? What else? This was one I saw. I'm not sure what it means because I've never really heard to it referred to. Integrated Driver Control System, IDC. I've never heard to it referred to as that. I've never heard it referred to as that, but I believe that might just be like the same thing we have on the 350 where you can change, steering feel and suspension, firmness and things like that with the MagneRide. And I would imagine that's basically all that is.
Right.
Large front radiator block off plate. That's where, they close up that huge grill opening to allow less air come in, less lift, more downforce.
Mm-hmm.
Magnesium tower to tower brace that I talked about in my, when we uncovered some GT500 information before it was even released. Transmission, you got the 7-speed dual clutch, two-piece smooth ventilated rotor, so no more of the drilled rotors. Then exterior standard features, dual exhaust with electronic valves, we already knew. Capless fuel filter, I don't know what fuel filler, I don't know why they put that on there, but yeah. Intelligent 3-wing turn signal, yeah, that's boring. LED sequential, I mean, really, it has tail lamps, guys.
Thank goodness.
Rear diffuser, rear spoiler, Michelin Pilot 4S are your standard tires. Tire inflator and sealer kit, unique front fascia. Yeah, come on, guys. You really need to put that in there. 20-inch flow-formed, high-gloss aluminum black wheels, black aluminum wheels. That's kind of like I was telling you for the wheels we were looking at for your car, Slick.
Flow form, be a high
flow form is basically like a forged barrel, but the face of the wheel itself is still cast. Where were we? Windshield wipers. Guys, it's got windshield wipers.
Thank God.
All right. So, yeah, I can't believe they put some of this stuff on here.
It's kind of shocking.
It's like, why, if I got to read over it, I might as well say it out loud is kind of the thing. But yeah, it's like, I feel like an idiot for even saying some of this stuff. But hey, you heard it first here. Windshield wipers.
Right.
And tail lights. All right, so interior comfort. So standard, you got the 12-inch LCD digital instrument cluster. That we kind of already knew, but again, confirmed here in the order guide. Aluminum foot pedals, cup holders too. It's got cup holders and a dome light.
Oh, just two? Shit, that's not going to work. I've got 3 personalities. I need more.
Driver footrest, a dual illuminated visor, vanity mirrors, dual zone electric automatic temperature control, Ford Performance aluminum scuff plates. Those are probably the little door sill plates. Aluminum glove box with lockable door, instrument cluster, gray accent, gauge cluster with register vents. I don't know what the heck that even means. Interior trunk release. They felt the need to mention that as well. But that's standard. Performance shift indicator light. That's something I was curious about. I'm guessing that's probably the same thing as the GT350, so we'll probably get that cool little heads-up display shift light on the windshield. I'm hoping that's what that is that they're referring to.
I really wish it's complicated to add it later, but I wish I had that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's got power door locks. Power points. I don't know. Maybe somebody can comment if they know what power points are.
That would be like a cigarette lighter adapter, I'm assuming.
Oh, power points, like I guess just to plug stuff in. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't. Like I said, some of this stuff, like I wouldn't expect them to mention, so you start thinking way off in outer space. So leather trim, Myco suede sport seats are standard. So again, that's going to be just like GT350, leather trimmed on the outside with the Myco suede on the inside, and then they have that, which they're like a smoke gray insert, but I mean, we'll get into that here when we get to it in the order guide. But I'm disgusted with that whole situation. Uh, Seats, rear leather trim, split bench folding, Shelby exclusive aluminum instrument panel, exclusive trim panel, soft door rollover, which is a good thing. That's the soft touch on the upper part of the door there by the window where most people rest their arm. Steering column tilting and telescoping, steering wheel leather Alcantara wrapped with paddle shifters and cruise control, sunglass storage, and it's got windows.
Do they roll down?
Power front, one touch up down.
Oh, they do roll
Go
down.
up and down.
Global open, which means I'm assuming
Who
that's from
wrote
the remote.
this shit? Really?
That is killer. I'm glad you can't see me right now because I'm doing stupid things.
All right, safety and security. I feel like not even reading this because I don't think anybody really cares.
It's got all the same shit that the regular
It's got,
one has.
yeah,
so
like it's a fully loaded. It's a fully loaded GT when it comes to security. Let's just say that.
I would assume it would be better, perhaps better lights.
Some of this is probably interesting to some. It does have the line lock, Ford Pass. It's got headlamps.
Excellent.
It does have launch control, which keep in mind, guys, that even though you're thinking that's standard on a GT, only on manuals, the automatics don't have launch control for obvious reasons. But that's one of the beauties of DCT is those things you can launch. You know, you can rev, if you've ever watched GTR launch videos, you know, you can rev them up to whatever RPM, almost like as if you had a stall converter on a typical.
You know what? Not only have I never tried mine, I had no idea. Because I thought I've heard of launch controls on the Chrysler
manual. I enjoy it. I mean, it does. I didn't realize why it was malfunctioning on me, but I guess like if you turn off everything completely, which is what I was doing at the drag strip, then it won't let you. It won't let you access line lock. So that's why I was having that malfunction at the track when I tried the 350R with the launch control. But other than that, like every other time I've tried using it, I like it. Pretty cool. But it's going to be amazing with a dual clutch. So just keep that in mind. That thing is probably going to leave really well out of the hole. So what else do we got here? Sync 3, it's got an audio system with AM, FM radio. Yeah, okay. So. Excellent. All right, so page 5. Let's go to page 5. That's the next page.
Okay, equipment group.
And this is GT500, just to make sure. This should be getting towards the end of it, guys, as far as the order guide. So, okay, the equipment group for GT500, this basically means these are the available options or option sets that you can get on the car. So everything else where it would be standard, automatically included, no matter what, this is stuff that you have to pay for. All right, the top is just the ordering codes for the car.
And the standard equipment, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, the top one is just like the P8S is just like that's the code the dealer uses to order a GT500 over like, let's say, a GT350, which would have a different code. All right, so the first big option, and that would be the one that I would be getting, is the carbon fiber track pack. With the carbon fiber track pack, you get 20-inch exposed carbon fiber wheels, probably the nicest wheels I've ever seen in my life. This part was cool, heard about it, but I wasn't sure if it was confirmed or not, and I'm very glad they did this because I'm so tired of Ford, or any other company for that matter, giving you what they call as an all-out track car and then don't give you the bare necessities that every track car should have.
Such as what? Adjustable strut?
There you go. The ability to adjust camber on a track car, even with the GT350R. If you open up the manual, first thing it tells you to do to take it on track is adjust camber. However, these cars, you cannot adjust camber the way they come from the factory unless you drill out the struts for, you know, and put bigger holes in your struts. So
that's not fun.
And that's not going to get you the kind of camber you really need if you're going to drive it hard anyway. So you have to put camber plates on these cars. So that'll definitely take care of that. And just a small note with the adjustable strut top mounts, these are shipped separately from the vehicle and then for the dealer to install. You get the exposed carbon fiber instrument panel, comes standard with the carbon fiber track pack. So for everybody else, that's like $1,000 or a $1,500 option. We'll see that on the pricing guide here in a moment. But if you get the carbon fiber track pack, it comes in there standard, and when you see the price of it, it damn well should.
Huh.
Uh, And then you have the exposed carbon fiber, and they are actually calling it, just like I said, the GT4 track wing. So that wing is the identical wing from the GT4 Mustang, only difference being, which I was able to verify myself, being the uprights are slightly shorter on the GT500 than they would be on the GT4. So if you were to have some custom uprights made, you would have a GT4 wing.
Is that it? Is that the
100%.
same as what you just put on your R?
Well, just no. Mine's the same wing that comes on the FP350S, which is Ford's other basically factory race car.
Okay,
That's more for the average Joe to buy. The GT4 is for race teams to buy. It's for people that are going to go out and campaign a race car and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars doing so.
I
The
see.
FP350S is a car that somebody like me could potentially buy. They're about 100 grand. The wing from now, as you guys know, all of my front aero on this car is going to be GT4, and none of it was cheap. But that rear wing, the reason why I didn't go GT4 wing is because the actual GT4 wing, which I can get my hands on, runs about 9 grand. So
Damn.
to get that wing on the GT500 is really awesome, to say the least. It's going to allow me to do testing with that wing on this car as well. So I will do testing back to back with the APR wing and the GT4 wing, and I'll probably have some custom uprights made to make it a fair fight there.
You think they'll bolt? You could be able to swap them from car to car? Is that what you mean?
Check some comments real quick. Oh, you can definitely swap. I'll just swap the trunk over. The trunks are 100%. I know for a fact.
But what if what if you scratch the bolts on the trunk? Is that a problem?
Hold on 1 second. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a couple minutes with the markups and how I feel about all that. Uh, what's up, Ken? How you doing? Yeah, I'm as of now I'm still planning on getting one, but I'm not gonna bullshit you guys. Like, it's gonna be a swing. Like, it's gonna be a swing for the fences, and I'm definitely gonna have to make some sacrifices. And I may have to. There may come a point where I might have to suck it up and say I'm either not getting the car or I'm gonna have to maybe not get a track pack. And you guys will see why here in a minute. We'll get into that. Let me just finish this up because we're getting towards the end of it. Um, so what we were on the track pack. Where were we? GT4 wing. That's where we were.
Yeah.
So after the GT4 wing, you get the Cup 2 tires. We all know 305, 315, just like the R has. Only difference between the R and the 500 track pack is this is 19s and that's 20s.
What is it? Same 10 and a
I'm
half
sorry,
and
that's
11?
not a good description. The GT350 has 19s and the GT500 will have 20-inch wheels. What was that, Slick?
Would it be a 10 and a half front, 11 rear? Most likely.
No, it'll be an 11-inch front and an 11 and a half inch rear.
Oh, man.
Okay, so right, so I said the tires 305, 315, 30s, and then you got the rear seat deletes, same exact thing you have in the 350R here. You have the splitter wickers, which are basically like the dive planes. They have yeah, I thought I was reading the wrong thing there. Yep, splitter wickers. So those are basically like the little dive planes they have on the sides of the splitter there. Wheel locking kit, which I would hope so for those wheels.
Shit.
Heated, cooled, and memory seats not included with Recaro leather trim seats. So I think what they're trying to say there is that you cannot get a track pack and get the heated and cooled seats.
Are those seats something you'd
You
want,
have to get
actually?
Recaros. What was that?
Would you actually want those Recaros? Are they worthwhile, or is you better off with aftermarket?
Oh, I want Recaros, but my gripe is with the all I can get is white seats. Like I think there's like one or two people that are in charge now at Ford that like as much of a Ford fan as I am, I got to be honest, like I'm tired of some of the decisions and some of the things that come from this company that I've been an ambassador for my entire life, like to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think you're going to get
But
that.
I mean, just like who makes these decisions? Just to go off on a little rant real quick about that. Like, you can only get white trim seats in any color. Like, if I was getting, part of me wants to get a white car now because I feel like that's the only place that that's justifiable. On a
Yeah,
white car, it's really cool to have the nice white leather trimmed outside of a seat. But if I get like a blue car or a green car or an orange car, like white doesn't always, it's not the same as black to me. I don't know. It's just a little bit too much. And I really don't think the white looks all that good, especially like the white stripes on the sides of the on the center console and all that stuff. I mean, it's just I just feel like it's them telling you what you should think looks good. Like, yeah, we think somebody there thinks that the white looks good on the seats, so it's like you have to have that. That's crazy. You have an all black option,
it really should
or you know,
it should coordinate with the exterior color. You know what I mean? And I
that's
believe
what
you could do
dude.
that
I've
in
been
the
in the body
CR1. You
shop and
know,
in the automobile aftermarket business my entire life, and it's common knowledge in the body shop. We do paint jobs. I've done many custom paint jobs, striping jobs, pinstriping jobs. Common knowledge is you match stripes and things like that with the interior of the car. Like if there's nothing on the car, so if you have white stripes, if you order GT500 with white stripes, then sure, great, white accent interior. But you know, a blue car with black stripes and white accented interior looks retarded.
I would agree.
That is my opinion, and I'm sure it's not shared by everybody. But when you're spending as much money as you're spending on this kind of car, that shouldn't be like it, I should be able to have it my way. Okay, so let's just finish this up real quick before I continue on my rant. So that ends up the carbon fiber track package. Other option, which I'm quite certain will be combinable with the track package, is the technology package. That gets you the B&O sound system, 12 speaker with subwoofer and trunk. You get the Bliss blind spot monitor, cross traffic alert, which I could really care less about. The only thing in here I really honestly would probably end up checking this box and paying more than I should for it is that this comes with the Cobra puddle lamps, heated
That's
memory,
pretty
turn
cool.
signals, and Cobra puddle lamps. And I do really like that. I know it's kind of like a what do you call it, like a novelty, but I'm into stuff like that.
There should be a way to put that on aftermarket. Not that I've looked, but I would imagine it couldn't be
There
hard.
is. I actually have some for my 350R that I never installed, but it's never as clean as factory. It never
Of
operates
course
the
not.
same way. And,
Right.
exactly. So, yep, that's the technology package, power six-way driver, and three memory settings. These are the seats that comes with the technology package. I'm guessing unless you select Recaros, which was the same way as it was on like GT350 and other cars. So you'll get everything in the technology package minus the seats if you select Recaros or if you have a carbon fiber track package.
Right.
The handling package. This would be in the event that I have to make a drastic decision. This would be where I would go. The handling package that gets you the gurney flap on the new track pack wing. You guys have all seen the wing on the new GT350. It's kind of got the little diffuser looking thing in the middle of the wing, and that again with the gurney flap. And you do get the splitter wickers like you do with the carbon fiber track pack. Um, and that's the only thing that comes with the handling pack. It's literally just the gurney flap for the wing and the splitter wickers. But as you'll see in the pricing guide, it's also a pretty cheap option for what it is. Recaro leather trim seats, manual not included with, yeah, that's kind of what I just said. And then you have the painted black roof option, uh, vinyl over the top racing stripes, as common stuff with Shelby's. Vinyl side stripes, those are hideous in my opinion. Painted over the top racing stripes. 47W is the option code. I'm sure a lot of you guys may have already seen this stuff, but for those of you that haven't, wait till you see the price on the painted racing stripes. I don't imagine a lot of people will be ordering them.
I
And then you
well,
have
you're
separate
making
options.
a big commitment if you get the painted ones. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, there's always some really rich guys, and there's guys that are collectors, and there's guys that have to check every box, and they just have it like that. And nothing against them. If I had it like that, I probably would do the same thing. But That's not the majority, or anywhere near it. Over the top racing stripes, painted, and then the exposed carbon fiber instrument panel. That's what we were talking about before. Would come standard with the carbon fiber track package, or it's a standalone option. And then you have your paint colors, which we've all seen them, but I guess it's worth mentioning that Twister Orange and Rapid Red, excuse me, Rapid Red Metallic and Twister Orange are the only additional cost colors. So those, if you want either one of those colors, there is an additional cost.
I'm assuming it's a tri-coat, right? Yeah, oh yeah, it says right there in front of me. What a
Yeah.
stupid. Maybe
Page
I should
6, you
read
can
before
flip
I
to real
speak.
quick, but there's not much to say on there, but they could just let them take a look at it real quick. Those are
Axle
just the wheel
availability.
options that are
Okay.
basically, it's just stating the wheel options. The only ones they actually show photos for are the GT350 wheels, which we've already seen. And then they just say image coming soon for the GT500 base and track pack wheels. And then page 7, this is GT350 only. Page 8 is GT350 only. And then page 9 is just discussing your colors and your stripe offerings with those colors. It's basically the same as we've seen before. And it's honestly, for the price and the prestige of this car, I feel like it's another mistake and missed opportunity on Ford's part to give so few options to, guys that want to customize their cars when you're up at this kind of price point. Basically, with vinyl over the top racing stripes, you can only get Kona blue, ebony, or bright white. And just to make sure, yes, that is correct. So, I mean, and still, which they've done in the past on the GT350 and other cars, a lot of guys, myself included, love black cars with black stripes. Matte black stripes on a gloss black paint job looks great. If you get black, you can't get black stripes, so you're literally, you can get white or blue stripes. So, I think that was kind of a missed opportunity. But as far as the rest of, mostly you guys can see here, what colors you might want if certain stripe colors are available. But for the most part, most of the colors come with, the 3 stripe options, unless those stripe colors conflict with the color of the car, in their opinion. And then you have the painted over the top stripes. Let me see, what am I reading? Why are those separated into 2 separate categories? Painted over the top racing stripes, absolute black, is in a separate category from painted over the top racing stripes with Oxford white and Kona blue. I'm not quite sure why they did that, but for whatever reason, same thing. You can get black, white, or blue. And again, I'm going to reiterate here, guys, just because, which you'll see in a moment here, the pricing on those painted over the top racing stripes, for them to tell me at that price that I can only get white, blue, or black stripes is absolutely, I can't even believe it. I can't even believe they have the nerve to do something like that. I mean, I'd have to double check, but I mean, I could order a brand new Porsche and paint the sample for damn near the price of what they're charging for these stripes, and they paint the car the color I want. I mean, whatever. You'll see. 10 is nothing. It's just, and then 11 is just stuff that hasn't been populated with information yet. So like the horsepower, which we do know, 760 horsepower, 625 foot-pounds of torque, but it's not here printed. But again, that has been confirmed from Ford. So now we can look at the bread and butter. We can go back and look at the pricing guide.
All right, if we're done with this, I'll close
Let me
this.
know when. Yep, let me know when you got that pulled up.
I am.
And this is where the knife hits the wound
1 second.
for me personally. And I'm gonna look at it from both sides and kind of give you my opinion from, I guess, my side, and then I understand that I fall into a very small niche category.
What the hell did I just do?
I don't know.
Refresh
You
shop.
blacked everything out except for me.
Um, yeah, I know what I did. Damn it.
What'd you do? Or just undo it. How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll go through some comments real quick.
Yeah. Give me a second. I know what I did here.
Yeah, I don't know if you're still there, underfed, but to be honest with you, dude, like I really don't see the markups flying so much on this car as they have with others. Um, I think that how do I put this? Like a lot of what drove the markups on the 350R was the fact that it really was such a bargain. And see, let's say this: the 350 was literally a car that was kind of marketed towards a different group of people. It was marketed like, here, look, this is like a purist car. It's really built for track days, track enjoyment. Not a race car in that sense, but it's a track day car. It's built to work well on the track. It's not a powerhouse. It's a good track car. And most of the people that are interested in a track car, of course, they're going to want a GT350R because it's really everything the 350 is, but it adds that extra track capability, and also it's the R, so you the collectors, you have it's just a really broad market that it kind of hits. Whereas like the GT500 has a huge following of drag racing guys, like a huge following, and it's understandable because the GT500 has always made good power. So people look at that car. A lot of people that don't give a crap about track performance or even handling, they just want a fast car in a straight line. So what I'm getting at here is like a lot of people wanted the 350R, where I think a lot of people, when I say 350R, I mean over the 350. A lot of people are going to be okay with a GT500 with a handling pack or just, technology pack and whatever other options you guys want on the car. I think that not everybody's going to have the carbon fiber track package the way everybody kind of had to have the R. And there's the reason why. I'm going to go straight to it since we're kind of already discussing that. And we'll skip over one thing real quick, which is the base price. Well, let's just say the base price. The base price is 70,000. Let me pull up mine because that is hard for me to see while I'm looking at the comments. So base price is $70,300. Add in destination and delivery at $1,095. You're at 71,095. I'm sorry, 71,400 roughly, and then you have $2,600 gas guzzler tax.
Wow, that's
I think
stout.
let me explain to you why this is getting ridiculous. The whole purpose of a gas guzzler tax is we're supposed to pay a tax based on the fact that we consume more fuel.
Right.
That's the opposite of the situation here. How many GT350? I paid a gas guzzler tax on this car. How many GT350s out there do you think have, at this car's getting towards 3 years old? I'm getting towards the end of the warranty here. At 3 years old, this car has just over 5,000 miles, somewhere in that. Now, that might seem extremely low, but if you survey GT350 owners, you'll find that it's not that low. Try to find GT350s that have 50, 60,000 miles on them. So basically what I'm getting at is like you're selling a niche car that is built in a limited number, first of all. Second of all, you're selling it to people that are likely to drive the car 5,000 miles a year or less. And then we have to pay a gas guzzler tax. And then on this car now it's double. $2,600 gas guzzler tax on a car that'll be the same way. Most people, that car, the GT500 as a whole, if you average it out, I guarantee you will consume much less gas than a Toyota Camry would because of how much more a Toyota Camry would be driven per year. You know what I'm saying?
And I know this is not direct correlation to the gas guzzler tax, but you're already paying taxes on the gas. If you're going to pay
right
at the
that's
pump,
well, I was going to go there too, but I didn't want
to
to turn it into a 20-minute discussion. But
No,
yeah, you're
but
absolutely
that's
right. You're
all I
already
wanna
paying
say.
tax on the gas. The gas is already expensive enough.
Yep.
But I have to pay $2,600 gas guzzler tax to buy a car, and supposedly the gas guzzler tax is, I have to pay a tax because of the amount of gas that I'm going to consume. When bottom line is, and I don't feel like I'm in a niche there. You can look at these cars, my '03 Cobra, going all the way back. It's still hard to find those cars with over, you do find them, but it's hard to find them with over 100,000 miles. Most of them have 50, 60, 70,000 miles on them, and they're 15 to 17 years old already. And I mean, think about that. Think about how much less gas that these cars actually consume than your average everyday, fuel saving car that's doing 30,000, 40,000 miles a year in some cases. In a lot of cases, a lot of people drive that much nowadays. But anyway, let's get back to it. So 70 now. Before I get into my rant about the track package, let me just say that this car fell exactly where I thought it was going to fall, right into the segment, being competitive in the segment. $70,000 is a good price for this car. For what you're going to get, for where it's going to perform in the segment, competitively to what else is available, and at that price range and in that performance category, you're getting a good deal. Even if you throw a couple options on it, you get a standard GT500, and you throw on the technology package, which gets you your heated and cooled seats and all that good stuff, navigation, your upgraded sound system. That's a $3,000 option. So you're at 70, 73, 74 with destination and gas guzzler, maybe a little over 74 actually, and then 3,000, 74, 76,000. So you're at about 76 grand for a pretty nicely loaded up GT500. And if you want to throw on the handling package, it's pretty surprising to see that it's a $1,500 option. So, for under $80,000, you could basically get a fully loaded GT500. The problem comes for guys like me, the guys that really only want to buy this car as a track car, maybe as a YouTube mascot kind of thing. But for me, it's a track car. Even if I was drag racing it, if I was taking it on the track, that's its only purpose to me. It's not a grocery getter. It's not to pick up my kids from school. It's to take it to the track once a month and beat the heck out of it. And $18,500. I don't know if you guys can zoom in on that and see that I'm not crazy or cross-eyed, but $18,500 for the track package option. Now, keep in mind that the GT350, the R package, you could see right here on this order guide for 2020 is going to be my phone keeps locking on me, a $12,995 option. Carbon fiber wheels, carbon fiber rear wing, same Recaros, rear seat delete. Why is this package $18,500 and this one is $13,000? Why?
Well, because obviously richer people buy the GT500. That's why. You can afford it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, man, and that's where my gripe is. I feel like we really have gotten to the point that I hoped we would never get to. And I'm grateful to maybe be able to afford this car. I'm saying maybe now because my confidence is dwindling here. But I'm grateful. I really am. I'm grateful to be one of the fortunate people to maybe be able to buy and afford this car. But I'm finding it where we're getting to the point that I hoped we would never come to. And that's where, we all, like I said to you earlier, I'm going to say it the same way to the guys watching, that we all started as babies, as kids. None of us started Mustang fans, even though I started a Mustang fan probably earlier than most. We started Lamborghini fans. We started with that unbelievable car that you couldn't imagine, that was what we, as little babies, and your first time seeing a car and liking it, that's what you like. A Lamborghini, a Ferrari, just a really exotic, cool car. You grow up to like a car like a Mustang because it's something that you can afford and something you can relate to. And it's getting to that point, and maybe not even getting to, I think we've reached that point where, Mustang has, and I fall into this category, the Mustang has a following of people that are so dedicated to the car and so passionate about it that it's sad to me that most of those people can't buy this car. And I'm sure of that.
Well, it's certainly not the track pack.
That's what I was going to say. I
you
mean,
know,
there's a big enough
or
swing there where I think a lot of people may be able to afford, and I may really fall right into that cuss. I'm hoping not, but I'm I really got to crunch some numbers and see what kind of sacrifices I may have to make. But I'm going to probably fall right on that cusp of whether like I could definitely afford a base with some options, handling pack, maybe Recaros and whatever. But there's a big enough line there where I may not be able to swing that, and the question is going to come to allocation. Now, obviously, I can look at my own finances now and say, hey, look, you can see that it's you know, a 15 or a $20,000 price difference. Can you swing that? But that's not the only answer that I need right now. Yes, I can swing that. It'll be a swing for the fences, but I can swing it. Where I'm not sure right now is what about this? What about ADM? Are they still going to try to say that we want $10,000, $15,000 on top of sticker for this car? It very well may happen, at least at first, because they've already pretty much confirmed that this car is going to be lower allocated than the regular car, meaning just like the 350R, you can't just go into any dealer that has an allocation for a GT500 and order a carbon fiber track package. You can't. They have to have a special allocation for it. So if
right.
Ford has to give them a special allocation for it, that means they're going to try to mark it up.
Yeah, and how many of them are going to have over the top
Now,
painted racing stripes for another 10 grand? You know,
now to touch back on what I said before on
it's
why I don't
crazy.
think markups are really going to fly on this car, to be more specific, I mean on the track pack version. Now, remember what I just said, that those cars are going to be allocated similar to the 350Rs, meaning you need a special allocation to buy one. So what that basically means is that dealers have to have a special allocation to buy one, and a lot of the people in this particular group, in this particular segment of performance on this car, I think most people are going to lean towards either a handling pack if they're into that kind of thing, or they're just going to want a base with all the when I keep saying a base, and I don't even like that term, but you know what I mean.
An
Like
unoptioned, an
they're going to
unoptioned
order a non-track
GT500.
pack car with all the options, with the technology and the sound system and their heated and cooled seats and all. I think that's what most people are going to want. And if dealers look 70, what did I say? 70, let's say 71,000. You got. It's hard for me to see your shit. I got to pull my phone back out. So you got 70,000. So you got $71,400. Then you got a $2,600 gas guzzler tax. So you're at like, what did I say? 71,000, 72, 73. So 74 grand. Now add 18,500. So 74, call it 5 plus 18,500 is $93,000. Okay.
And it's not even fully loaded yet.
And it's not even fully loaded yet. You got to add at this point, shit. You got to add the $3,000. I mean, what? You're not going to have the good sound system and stuff
Of
in it.
course, you got to add that. Yep.
So what did I
That whole
say? We were at
package.
93,000. So now you're at $96,000.
And then the
Okay.
painted black roof, 700, 695.
I have to have the painted black roof. That's a mandatory option. So now you're at almost $97,000. You're like, think about it.
It's hard to justify.
So when I say are there going to be no, when I say I don't think markups are going to fly, don't get what I'm saying twisted. I agree 100%. When this car hits the lot, you're gonna call your dealer and you're gonna say, hey, I want a GT500 track pack, and they're gonna say, sure, 10 grand over sticker. That's gonna happen, absolutely. What I mean by it's not gonna fly is I don't think people are gonna pay it. I really think that at that point it was close enough on these cars that people wanted them, and it had that specialty to it. It was the R, you know what I mean? They were only going to build 500, is what they kept telling people. This car, I think people are going to be like, dude, $96,000. The dealer needs a special allocation for it. It's a nightmare to find one. I got to call 100 dealers to find one. I finally found one, and they want 15 grand over sticker when I called them. So what people are going to do is they're going to be like, you know what? Forget that. I'm fine with it. I don't track my car. I don't need a track car. I'm just going to go buy a freaking base and it's going to be $76,000
But you
instead
see,
of
the biggest thing is,
and likely, just like before, initially you're going to have dealers saying that we'll take 5,000 over sticker for a GT500, or we'll take 10,000 over for the track pack. So people are going to go, okay, so I can get 96,000 plus 10,000, so 106 grand, or I can get 80 grand. So you're
80 is
talking about
doable.
twenty six
100
thousand
is a
dollars.
whole nother ball game.
20, yeah, that's a whole nother ball game. It's a whole nother car. Let's say that. Let's say that this car starts. I don't like using the whole rental car thing that a lot of people do, but like this car does start as a $25,000 car.
Right,
It's
right.
a like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and it's like every other muscle car. It has that, or the performance cars that are often compared.
And I feel so conflicted about this whole thing because it's like I see that base price and I see it with even with some options, handling packet, which again, if I wasn't an all out track junkie, that looks so sweet. 70 grand, gas guzzler tax, destination fee, 74 grand. Give me the handling pack because I'm kind of into that. Even if, like I said, if I wasn't a dedicated track guy, I'd like to have the best of both worlds. Give me the handling pack. Give me the technology package. I'm under 80 grand out the door. That looks good to me, based on what else is available. I'm saying even if I wasn't like a Mustang guy, based on what else is available at that price range, the GT500 is going to do well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one
You
thing.
add that, and I'll
It
be the
it would.
first to tell you because I've been on the whole, the GT500 track pack is going to destroy the ZL11 LE bandwagon, and I'll be the first guys right now to admit that, if it takes a GT350 track, did I say 350 the first time? I meant
Yeah.
500.
No, second time. Just a
It,
second.
it's going to take if it's going to take a GT500 track package to beat a ZL11 LE, then you know what, dude, Chevy won that battle. I'm sorry. I'm sorry because if it's gonna cost me $100,000 to beat a $70,000 car, which we all know that was the competition. How tired I got of hearing the whole demon thing, and I kept saying that this car is not geared towards beating the demon. If they wanted to beat the demon, I'm sure they could have, but they weren't trying to build a drag car. They wanted to build a world class sports car, and there's no denying that the ZL1 is a bad car. It's a freaking it does really well at what it does. You know, even all of the six gens do. All of the six gen Camaros, they're built on a good chassis. It's a lighter chassis than the S550 chassis, and they do really well. But it shouldn't take $30,000 more. So I can understand being on a less advantaged chassis, and maybe they had to push a little harder to get it to beat a ZL11LE around the track, but it shouldn't take a $100,000 car, which again, I think it's worth mentioning that the ZL1 you can go pick up all day long for sticker price, whereas like it's still up in the air on how this is going to go with the GT500. So if we're talking sticker to sticker here, what if like everybody fears the GT500 is going to the track pack car is going to demand a $10,000 or $15,000 markup? What if that's the case? Then we're talking $100,000 to $115,000 car to beat the ZL1. That's a loss. So the only thing I would say as far as like the whole ZL1 versus GT500 battle is I really hope that handling pack car can beat a ZL11 LE. And knowing what I know about track stuff, and I know a lot, I don't see that being a possibility just based coming down to tires. It's hard to beat a car that's on 325 R compounds versus a car like the GT500 base or even the handling pack versus a car that's on Pilot Sport 4S's that are smaller. I mean, yes, it has an extra 100 horsepower, but that's not what matters on track. What matters on track is handling and braking capabilities, and it comes down to tires.
Yep.
I think the car itself is capable of beating the ZL1 in any trim, but it's going to take a tire swap. If you want to take a GT500 base or handling pack car on track, with a pro driver in that car and a pro driver in the 1LE, you're going to need a tire to beat the 1LE. There's no doubt about it. And the only car that really comes with an R compound is the GT500 track package, the carbon fiber track pack. So it's looking like I said, I'm still confident that the car is going to do, it's going to do a number on the ZL1, but it's going to cost a pretty penny to do so.
Well, let's break that thing down for a moment. All right, you got 18,500. Obviously, a large percentage of that is just the four wheels, right? From a cost perspective. And maybe I missed it when we were going through the other sheet, but I mean, are there actually pieces that are replaced and are now carbon fiber to further lighten the car? Is there some difference?
No, no, dude. If there was anything like that, trust me, it would have been meant. You got to look at it from a marketing point of view. Like, you're going to use anything and everything you can to brag about. You know what I'm saying? If there was a bunch of light weighting on this car, they would have said it. Maybe they don't come out and say the weight right away because we know at the end of the day it's going to be a porker. At least, well, maybe not relatively speaking, but based on what people call a porker, I think a lot of people are kind of stuck in 15 years ago where cars just don't weigh 3,000 pounds anymore unless you're talking about $150,000 Porsche or something, two-seater sports car. These cars aren't actually built as sports cars. They're kind of like bespoke cars that are built from regular passenger cars and turned into sports cars. It's a sporty car, but it's not really it doesn't start its life as a sports car. Let's just say that. So it's hard to get to those kind of weights for anything. I mean, the Camaro, the Challenger. If you look at it like across the board, the Mustang's not heavy. Like, people are just stuck in 10 or 15 years ago where it's like, oh yeah, it's heavy compared to the car I used to have. Well, that was then. That was before cars had to have 28 airbags, like mandatory.
What's the weight difference with the carbon fiber wheels?
Oh,
Approximately.
it's huge. Like, that's why, I mean, having the 350R, like, makes me even want them even more than probably if I never had the car. If I never had the car or the wheels, I probably would just like really want them due to the aesthetics and just like the cool factor, the novelty, like I said before.
Right.
But after having them, one, even more so than performance, it's funny, but I've mentioned this to people before and they laugh. Like, one of my favorite reasons of having the 350R wheels is changing wheels at track. That you change wheels a lot at the track, and they're usually hot and sticky and dirty and heavy as shit. And it's a lot nicer to deal with
Is
a
it
carbon
20
fiber
pounds a
wheel.
rim or wheel?
It's lighter.
No, I mean, is it a difference between a non-carbon fiber equivalent, like say the Project 6 ones you had that were
Oh yeah,
replicas?
dude, when you pick up a carbon fiber wheel and then pick up one of my replica wheels, the replica wheel feels like a damn boat anchor.
Okay, so it's
It's a
it's
substantial
multiple.
difference. Like, when you pick it up, like when I say, I'm not quoting scale figures here. I'm
Right.
just saying, like, seat of the pants feel when you pick the wheels up. It's substantial. Just changing the wheels, lifting them in and out of the truck to do track days, like all of that stuff. Like, I love the carbon fiber wheels. And there is an immediate noticeable difference when you slap those wheels on track, just how scalpel sharp it is with steering as soon as you put those wheels on.
Huh.
It's hard to describe, but it's just, I mean, you can totally feel it through the steering wheel when those wheels are on there.
So let me just throw this at you. If you said minus the carbon fiber wheels,
I'm listening. Let me open this door.
can you duplicate everything else aftermarket? Maybe not now, maybe later
No, because
on.
honestly, like I said, one of the biggest things, like I said, was that GT4 wing. I wanted that wing for this car, and I had to settle on this APR wing. Which, this car, when I say settle, I don't really feel like I settled. This is a race car. I'm building it to compete, in time attack, and hopefully, maybe one day, I might use a donor body for that once I get to that step. But maybe one day, full wheel to wheel racing. That's what I bought this car for, and that's completely what the build has turned into. So I don't mind having a 3 foot tall spoiler on the back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, That it doesn't bother me. This car never gets. It doesn't even have a license plate on it. So the only place you'll see the car with that 3 foot wing on the back is at the track, and at the track it doesn't look out of place at all. Everybody has one.
Right, right.
But I don't want to stick a 3 foot wing on the back of a GT500. And I'm serious enough about tracking these cars that I do need the extra downforce or want the extra downforce
Well,
that
I
you
tell
get
you,
from, you know,
it not only do you have a predicament, but when you see what's going to come out and hit the roads or hit the dealerships that are not ordered, just what was they were sent. It's going to be interesting to see the combinations they do. Like how many of them are going to have that insane painted stripe 10 grand markup?
yeah, see
How many
that
are
we
going to
didn't.
have the
Let's
carbon
just talk about
fiber?
that. Let's skip over to that real quick because that's
Yeah.
basically where we were. We talked about everything else on the pricing guide, right? Did we skip anything?
No, I think we pretty
The
much
carbon
covered
fiber track
everything.
package is $18,500. The technology package is $3,000. In case any of you guys are confused why you're seeing two different prices for the technology package, one is for GT350. So this has all the pricing mixed in for GT350. So 3,000 for that, 695 for the painted roof, and then you got the vinyl over the top stripes. Those are $1,000. Side stripes 375. And here's the big one that you've all been waiting for: $10,000 for fucking racing stripes.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. That's a whole nother
Bro, like,
car.
what are you guys smoking over there?
You take
Please,
the
like, send some
18.5
over here.
and the 10,
Like, I just,
and you got a nice GT Mustang on the side. Just those two
dude,
options.
do they understand? Like, that's like supercar territory. That's like what territory on like what they charge on Ferraris and Porsches and Lambos and things like that. You can paint to match your Porsche any color you want for like that kind of money. Like
Jeez.
literally, you order a Porsche and they're just like, okay, what color do you want? You know what I mean? Like for
Yep.
$10,000, let me get this straight. For 10 grand, I can have blue, white, or black stripes painted on.
It's crazy. I don't get this. This is like really not what it's.
Why would they even like? I've heard so many excuses over the past couple of years about why they went in a certain direction away from where people clearly wanted them to go. You know what I'm saying? Let's the turbo thing we've talked about before. Many people wanted this car to be turbo. Ford stated that they were moving towards turbocharged technology. They clued in many times that like this car was going to be turbocharged. And then all of a sudden, you hear through the grapevine that, oh, we were looking at turbos, but the car was just going to cost too much. We didn't want to make an over $100,000 Mustang. Oh, really?
Well, you just
So,
did.
what I was going to say is, and then at the end of the day, so instead of building the turbo car that I think most people wanted, yeah, somebody just to interrupt real quick. When I bought my Lamborghini Huracan, the bespoke colors were $13,000. That's for the entire car. Thank you, Jay. That is exactly what I was just referring to. With Porsche, you could do the paint to sample system. You paint the entire car any color you want, and it costs around that $10,000. $13,000 to paint a Lamborghini any color you want from the factory. Well, like, what are they smoking? Who's in charge of this? Like I've never like you probably never heard me vent about Ford or like because I've been such an ambassador for this company my entire life. And like I said, this stuff is just really starting to make me want to be like, you know what? I'm not going to be brand loyal to anybody because it's a slap in the face, is what it is. This right here, even though I think that the GT500 at the base price is a great value, the big picture here is just a slap in the face to the performance enthusiast. The true performance enthusiast, this is a slap in the face. It's
Yeah.
like here we're gonna put the car in to get this price figure out there to make us look like the car's priced well. But yet, if you wanted to actually perform like we've been bragging about for God knows how long, you got to check this $20,000 box right here.
They
Like, come
just
on,
they
dude.
just took it out of the blue
Oh,
collar
oh, and if you
workers
actually want that,
budget.
you sorry, you can't actually get it. You got to go beg, borrow, and Like I've never, when I bought this car, dude, this was my first taste. My entire life, I'm not gonna lie. Like I was pretty much a Ford fanboy. You know what I mean? This was my first taste of like, oh wow, like yeah, these guys aren't perfect because I've never in my life been treated like I was being done a favor for buying a $75,000 car. And that's really, you can ask most people that bought these cars early on, everybody felt the same way. If Ford was to do a survey from all their, and these are your valued customers, guys. These are the people that spend the big money on your best cars you offer. If you do a survey between all GT350, early GT350 owners, now the car's been out, people have them, you can get them. Early GT350 owners, the people that support the brand and were going out there posting everything on social media, using the cars, putting them through their paces, those people, ask every one of them, I guarantee you, they all say, oh, heck yeah, that's exactly how I felt. Like I was being done a favor to buy this car. No other company, you buy a, there's cars that I love Mustangs. I love them more than anything. But there's cars out there, let's be honest, that are a lot better. There's cars that are way more prestigious. And you can go buy a Porsche 911 GT3 and you're treated like a god. You know what I'm saying? Yes, the allocation process can be difficult because you're fighting against millionaires all over the place. But the treatment that the dealerships give you is far, far beyond what you got when you went shopping for this car. When you went shopping for this car, you were made to feel like we're the customer. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep. It's almost snobbish. It's crazy.
Yeah, and another thing I agree full auto, dude. Like there's some arguments that I hate seeing, and there's some that I agree with 100%, and that's one that I agree with 100%. That's a fact. That's not an opinion, actually. It's a fact that this car is late to the market. We know for a fact that this car has been in the making for 5 years. I know it for a fact. I know they were working on this car 5 years ago. Whether they dropped the program and said, we're not going to build a GT500, and then maybe picked it up again 2 years later. That I don't know. I don't know. I'm not that well in the know, but I know for a fact that this car was being developed, thought of, designed 5 years ago when the S550 came out, or shortly thereafter. So if there's no, that's a fact. The car is way late to the market. This car should have been out 2 to 3 years ago. And boy, the difference, it's kind of funny if you think about that, because think about the difference between how this car would have been taken 2 years ago. Think about how this car would have been, and I hate that it gets brought up in the same conversation because they're really two totally different animals. But before the Demon was a thing, like which is really when this car should have been released. But before the Demon was out, just before the 1LE came out, this car should have been a thing. And if it would have been a thing then, oh my God, it would have been considered the biggest home run since freaking peanut butter and jelly on bread. And now it's taken since like the complete opposite. It's like, oh, well, it's not as, it doesn't have as much horsepower as a Demon. It doesn't do this as well as this car. It doesn't, like, that's how it's taken now.
Well, yeah, because, first of all, you got fanboys that talk shit that don't know what they're talking about. But the other part is it's so late to the party, you kind of lost a lot of any anticipation or momentum or anyone. Ford gave themselves a chance to be last, and now they're getting shit on. They're not getting.
I wouldn't trade my 350R for this car. I'm just answering a comment here. Didn't mean to interrupt
Okay.
you, but I wouldn't trade my 350R for this car if it was the last Mustang they were ever going to build, and they said that. Like, no way. Not a chance. I've always been, put it like this, 3 years ago when I was initially like really, really wanting and waiting for this car, if you would have told me then that it was going to be DCT auto only, I would have been out. I would have started looking for something. I would have already bought something else by now. That would have been that. Through all my track endeavors, and honestly, I would say 90% of it was owning this 18 GT with the 10R80. After owning that car, buying it, really so my girlfriend could drive one because you can't drive a stick is really why we got that car. I really kind of have a different attitude about it now. But 3 years ago, there's no way I would have ever traded. I mean, not traded. There, I wouldn't have even considered buying this car being an auto. Now I feel differently about it, but nowhere near differently enough to get rid of. This is the best Mustang I'm starting to think now that we'll ever see. I mean, hopefully not that we'll ever see, but at least in the foreseeable future.
Which
I
one, the
think
R
that
or the 18?
yes, no, the 350R. I think it's at least for the foreseeable. And that's such a it's such a like that's an opinion. That really is an opinion because it depends on what you want. I can totally sympathize with the guys that like really want the power because before I got into the track thing really heavily, that's where I was. Even though I still was into cars that could handle and drive well and like, just were sports cars, at the end of the day what I really wanted was 700 horsepower. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I can totally sympathize with all the guys that really that's all they want. And for those guys, I can understand why the GT350 has always kind of been like meh. You know what I mean?
Well,
But
you know, there is a happy medium to everything, and
but my
honestly,
opinion for an all around experience, not a car, not a performance measurement, for all around experience. This is the best Mustang that was ever built, and I think it's going to stay that. I think it's going to be the best Mustang that will be built, at least in the foreseeable future, like in the next 10 years or so. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. Because now that the GT500's all out, like what I would really like to see is an evolution of this car. I would like to see this car evolve. I would like to see this car end up 600 horsepower and a 8,500 RPM with even a little bit more aero and handling. Throw the GT4 wing on the next GT350, maybe a GT4 style front splitter. They could do a few things to make it handle a little better than it already does, which it already handles freaking amazingly, and then add 70, 80 horsepower to the GT. Let's say they do direct injection and another 300 or 400 RPM. I know I'm, easier said than done, but just theorize. If they went that route, I don't think it would be very unrealistic to see an extra 70 horsepower or more and bring it right to the 600 horsepower range. That would at this point that would be my dream Mustang. 3-4 years ago, I would probably say an EcoBoost V8, which is what I always hoped I always wanted to see them do a twin turbo V8 and throw it in a Mustang, and that would have been my dream Mustang. Now I think I would like to see a 9,000 RPM, 600 horsepower, and a stick shift car.
huh, yeah, I think that'd be great. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know what
honestly,
I
as a
don't know what
daily
you're gonna do,
driver,
brother.
dude,
But
I
I
would.
tell you,
What, what'd you say, Mike?
I'm a bit deflated. Not that I was a buyer, but Jesus, there's been enough.
I mean,
Shit
I'm a
talk.
bit deflated too. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie at all. Like, and it's just the track pack thing. Like, it's
yeah, I
just.
agree. The
I
swipes thing
left a
is
little
just for
window in
someone
there.
not paying
I
attention.
figured it could swing 5 to 10 grand in any direction. I didn't really think like $20,000 for the track pack, add 3,000 for the tech pack, and a couple of the gas guzzler tack doubled. It's like all these little things plus that big giant thing all piles up to be like, wow, that was actually like way out of what I'm usually pretty good at that kind of stuff. I never get my hopes up and hope for the best case scenario. I usually kind of hope for the worst case scenario. And I knew this car was going to be around 70 grand starting price. I knew it. I didn't have hard inside. Diamond, get over here. Come. Hold on, dog's going to chase you. Come on. Get in. Get in here.
I'm not sure on the front rear weight, stupid fast truck, but I don't think those specs are out. Now the
What was I just
350,
talking about now?
the
Oh,
350.
just
I'm
to
sure
answer your
Steve can
question
answer.
real quick, Steven. Honestly, with the R, dude, I had a GT350, and obviously I have the R now, and I got the car because I knew I wanted to get real serious with the track stuff. But if I was gonna buy another street car, and we'll talk about that another time, I may get another GT350, but I would
Man,
definitely.
I want one so bad. There's
Yeah,
two
you
at my
don't need the
dealer.
R for the street. You really don't. There's nothing. One thing I've not really liked about how Ford does that with the special stuff is like there's nothing really different about the R if you're not a track guy. You will probably not even notice a difference if you're not a track guy. And I don't make sure because it's real crazy how quick that what I just said flips to the opposite. If you take one on track, there's a huge difference between the GT350 and the R. A very when I say a huge difference, again, I'm not talking about performance measurements or lap times. I'm talking about in what you feel because that's what's most important. What you feel and what you hear, and there's a huge difference on track. On the street, get a GT350, save yourself some money, and if you want to do track and you want to get into it more, you can always throw some R compound tires or whatnot on it and pretty much hang with an R anyway, because that's really what makes them so much quicker lap time wise is the tires.
There are two
No,
available
the
at my
tax
dealer,
I'm
and I
not
tell
blaming
you,
Ford for. That just to be clear, my gripe on that tax is straight government. I mean, it's
yes,
just
but
like
why
when are
is it
people going to
double?
start?
That's the
People
thing.
like
It's
eventually need to come together and like put their foots down because they just do whatever they want. It doesn't even. It should be justifiable. Everything should be justifiable. You're going to charge me a $2,600 gas guzzler tax. I should be guzzling some gas. No,
right.
I mean, take a survey. How many GT350s have more than 20,000 miles on them and they're 3 years old at this point? So why are we paying a gas guzzler tax when we use less gas than everybody else? That makes no sense.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, and also keep in mind too, the GT350 non-R, just GT350 is a great track car. It's still very track capable. So it's still, take it to the track, have a freaking blast, and probably be very impressed at what the car can do versus what
It's
you
not. It's
probably
not even
think it
that.
can
I
do.
think the car is freaking gorgeous. If I had to design a Mustang, that's it. The 500 is not as appealing to me
See, I kind of
aesthetically.
disagree, and you know what? I thought I would disagree. I thought I would agree with you, but when the first like rendering started coming out, and I kind of knew we kind of knew what the car was going to look like, but we really hadn't seen it in the flesh yet. I thought for sure I'm like, there's no way they're going to top GT350 looks. But honestly, after seeing the car in person, the one thing that stands out the most is standing dead in front of the car. Standing dead in front of the car, I can honestly say that it's one of the most aggressive front ends that I've ever stood directly in front of.
But I'm
The
not a big fan of
GT500.
all that Camaro esque
And yeah, I
zero
mean,
one
everybody's
black
got a
section
flavor,
in
dude.
front.
Like, yeah, that's an opinion that you're entitled to.
Right, right.
But I just think, like, over, like, in my opinion, it's a very aggressive.
I don't deny that, but I'm
And
kind
I
of
and I would say, and again, in my opinion, that it does rival the looks of the GT350. One big gripe I have with the aesthetics of the car and also functionality is that they deleted the fender venting. And I've been
yeah.
doing, especially with what I've been doing on this car, I've been doing a lot of research on aerodynamics lately and downforce. And you'd be surprised how much lift is generated by the turbulence coming off of the tires. The turbulent air coming off the tires creates a huge high pressure zone, and that high pressure zone has nowhere to go in a closed fender. So I'm not sure why, when they set out to build the highest downforce Mustang ever, which is what they claim, why did they take away the fender vents? That would, I mean, number one, they look good. They have a function, you know.
I don't know. I don't understand the slotted rotors versus, or excuse me, drilled versus
Well, the
non-drilled.
slotted rotors, that has some functionality reasoning behind it. See, before that was more of an aesthetic thing. And through testing, it turns out that there is some advantage to having drilled rotors. There is some advantage with as far as heat dissipation. However, through testing, they've later realized that the advantage is much outweighed by brake pad consumption.
Right. That
So
makes sense.
right. So, and I agree because I've been through quite a few pads on this car already. So I'm all for if they could make the pads last 30% longer, and maybe I've never had any problem with these brakes overheating on me as it is, so I don't think that'd be an issue. And I can always, if it does become an issue, I can always duct in my rotors, and then they'll probably run even cooler than they were when they were vented, and I'll still get the prolonged brake pad use.
Right.
Would I supercharge a GT350? I absolutely would supercharge it. I'm not like that track guy that's Mr. like anti, supercharge a GT350. What I would say is for anybody that wants to buy one for track use, like when I bought my first GT350, I didn't buy it to be a track car like this. I bought it because I wanted a car that was capable of doing some track days. And if you're buying it for that reason, then I would say no, don't supercharge it. The car is really, really good on track, better than you think it is. And if you're buying it for that reason, don't supercharge it. You're just going to make it less of a balanced car, way more harder to put the power down coming out of corners. It's not going to help you anywhere. If you're buying one to be a street car and you like power, which I do too, and you're going to drive it primarily on the street, maybe one day you'll go do a track day. Sure, put a supercharger on it. You probably love it. It's something that I kind of aspire to do one day. Would be maybe build a GT350 street car. It may come to the point where I'm pretty settled on buying this car one way or the other. Maybe it'll come to it. Well, I'll have to change my plan from buying and keeping this car to buying it, beating the crap out of it, making a whole bunch of good videos out of it, and then, getting rid of it and doing another cool build on the channel or something.
I don't know, man. I mean, geez.
It may come to that point. It may just be that expensive. Like, I've looked real quick crunching the numbers. I'm thinking $1,600 a month for that thing.
Yeah, that's just no way.
With the track package and everything, and that's a lot of money, dude, for a Mustang. Like,
I would say
that's where
way
it's at.
too much money for a
I'll
Mustang.
always stick up for Ford. I'll always, I'm never, how I am. I'm not biased when it comes to my opinion. So I'm not blind to facts, and I don't say things are what they aren't. I'm not that kind of fanboy. But I'll always stick up for Ford and always be a Ford guy. It'll always be in my heart. I was born like into this. Like, it's a family. And that being said, I can't lie. For $110,000, I'm starting to think like, dude, ZR1, like Porsche 911 GT3, like
Right.
I'm thinking Cayman GT4. I'm thinking all kinds of other thoughts.
Dude,
Because
They can't give Camaros away. You could get a ZL1 and another GT Mustang. You know what I mean? Literally, easy for 110,000.
And I'm not in the market for those cars right now. I'm just saying, like, I feel like I'm being forced to consider spending that much money on a car. So now I feel like I'm also being forced into consider. I've always been that kind of person. I consider myself an intelligent person financially. I'm not gonna, if I'm like, okay, now I'm looking at buying a $90,000 car, I'm gonna look at everything else that's available. Even though I'm a Ford guy, I'm a Ford fanboy, fine, whatever. I bought their shit my whole life. For that kind of money, dude, I'm gonna look at everything. You know what I mean?
You have to, dude. I mean, if you're gonna say if
And
you
when
can
you
come
start
to,
looking, when you start looking, it's hard not to be like, wow, dude, like,
yep.
look at
But
what
you
I can
can't
get
not.
for that
I mean,
same
if you
money.
cannot go for the lower optioned non-track pack car, because it's just insanity. The 18 and a half. I don't think there's a. Obviously, I'm not you, but that would be very difficult. 75, 80 with the options we spoke of, maybe a couple
That's what
grand
I said.
ADM.
Well, realistically, I thought the car was going to be 80 grand. Like, I thought it would start at 70, and I thought with the track package option it was going to be like 82,000. And then I figured like I would, maybe pay up to 5 grand over sticker. So I was thinking somewhere around 85 grand, maybe like worst case scenario. I was thinking it could creep up towards 90 if I pay us like a good ADM. Now I'm looking at it like, dude, it may be over 90 just to start talking, and then you might have a $10,000 ADM to deal with. So where I was already kind of swinging for the fences, looking at worst case scenario, Now I need to hit like a grand slam, and there's like, you know, the count's full. There's
I'm
it's
not,
late.
it would stop me dead in my tracks. Now, I'm never one to go after things that are like that, but there's been a
Okay,
couple of
yeah. When I said GT3,
GT350s
I
I've
should have
been
been more
trying to
specific.
figure out how
I
to
was
buy,
thinking
and
mini GT3. Like to me,
a
I'm
lot less
sorry
money.
again. I'm as fanboy as they get when it comes to Mustangs, but I would still really have to consider a 2015 911 GT3, which one of my buddies just picked up for like I think 110,000 exactly, and it's a gorgeous car, yellow carbon fiber seats with all the matching seat belts, and I mean the car is frick. You could just, I guess, like you could see the difference in the quality of the car.
Oh,
That's
it's
where
no
I have a
question.
problem. I love Mustangs. Nobody loves them as much as I do, or more than I do, I should say. But just as an as an intelligent person, like how can you not look at this and be like, dude, for $110,000, look at this car. Look at everything's perfectly fit together. Everything's leather, everything's soft touch, everything's Alcantara, everything's made out of carbon fiber, center lock wheels, and like everything is high end shit. This
Yeah,
is
and
the
they're gonna
same hundred
treat you
grand,
like high
and
end too.
underneath this carbon fiber wing and the wheels and all that other shit, it's a freaking $25,000 car, which I feel like I need to keep mentioning a $25,000 car that I love, but still,
But I tell you, they're getting away from. I mean, you're talking about a whole nother league,
it's a lead. That's
70
where it is. It's
to
a league
100.
jump, and I feel like the big. I just saw Steven asked another question about blower. I would probably, to be honest with you, I've always been kind of more of a Century guy. Like I just love the sound of centrifugals, pro charger stuff like that. But to be honest with you, the GT350 is a little bit lazy on the streets because the car is meant to rev. It's meant to scream. And if you're not screaming, it doesn't make great, excuse me, down low power. Looking at it like that, I may really consider getting like a Whipple because I think a Whipple with the sound of a GT350 would kind of be the ultimate street car. Not maybe not the ultimate on the drag strip, maybe not greatest for the track, but as a street car daily driver that can really bust somebody's ass and sound and look amazing.
Why can't you just do some serious gears in that,
Yeah,
some
actually, the
430s?
torque wrenches that the Porsches give are pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, I'm at the track a lot, so I see those all the time. And that's really, I wasn't much of a Porsche guy to be honest with you until I started going to the track a lot. And Porsches are just there's something special about them on track. There's something special. It may like when I think of supercar, it may not be like the first car that comes to mind, especially aesthetically. I do like the way they look, but it's to me it's just not like the ultimate looking car. But there's just something about them. They're just true, pure driver's cars. And I've really come to appreciate them a lot more in the past couple of years,
That car
especially the
you're talking
GT3
about
cars.
probably whips ass on the
Like
track
one of
too,
my
right?
basically right now, one of my dream cars is a 2018 911 GT3 manual. Now, again, I've come a lot more open to the idea of DCT in the past few years. I'm gonna try it out on the GT500, but I would rather have a manual. Like I love shifting on track. I mean, I love shifting on the street. I love shifting in general. But for a sports car, for a pure driver's car, I care less about the fact that it shifts, in 6 milliseconds and it's a half a second faster on track because of that. I care less about that than I do the overall experience that I get on track because that's why we go. Why do we do things for fun? If you might, some guys are into the track, some guys are into boating, and you do things as hobbies because they're fun, not to like stack it up against your buddies and say it's better because that's what it seems like a lot of people care about nowadays.
Yeah, it's a stupid thing these days. Doesn't
I
make
mean, yeah,
sense.
people care more about like
Bragging about how much horsepower they have, whether
right or like yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, I've heard that from multiple sources that the 570S is really, and you know what? From watching Street Speed's channel a lot back when he had the 570S, at first I kept thinking like, man, that thing like it shouldn't beat that car. And then like by the time he got rid of that car, like, dude, I had a serious respect for what that thing can do. Like with the amount of power that thing has to freaking crack demons and freaking 1,000 horsepower modified cars, bikes, like that thing will bust
Yeah,
some
it's
ass.
crazy. That car is crazy, man.
And that goes to show you, I'm always preaching because Slick, how I'm always getting mad about people
Yeah,
jumping on
talking
the horsepower
shit.
bandwagon and claiming victory just off of that. And that's another perfect example, dude. Like the horsepower and the weight, the power to weight ratio doesn't tell you the entire story anymore.
The
20 years
aerodynamics on
ago,
that car, phenomenal.
15 to 20 years ago, power to weight ratio told you 75 to 85% of the story. Now it's so, dude, the transmission technology and the gearing and just putting the power to the ground has
Yep.
come such a long way in the last 15 to 20 years that you can take an 18 GT with a freaking E85 tune in it and go bust Hellcats' asses. Ask me how I know.
Yep.
But nobody cares. People will care that, Hellcats have 707 horsepower. That makes them cooler. To me,
Well,
it's cooler. The
you're talking
faster
about a
one's
different
cooler, not the one
mentality of
that like.
folks, really.
What? What'd you
That
say? What'd you say, Mike?
I said you're talking about a different mentality of folks that think that that's all that matters. A victory is,
Well, you know
808
what's
or
aggravating? It's like
something.
what I said to you earlier. What's aggravating about it is most of this comes from people that don't have a dog in the fight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like most
Yep.
of the, oh, this car's a fail, that car's a fail, that car should do this car should do that. Most of them are people that aren't in the market for the car, don't know shit about racing, never at the track. They might
Don't even
aspire,
have
they
a
might like
current model
cars, and
performance car. I mean, the
right,
list goes on and on. It's
they don't have a
crazy.
dog in the fight, but
Yep.
they got an opinion in there.
Well, everyone's got an opinion. That's the problem. But, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, I would imagine the 570 probably definitely gets more panties to the mile.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm going to use that one. I mean, I would say the same thing about like the GT3 or any of those other cars. Probably even like a ZR1. And most of my life, I was pretty anti Chevy, but always in the back of my mind, I always kind of had like a fondness for the Corvette that I really didn't want to admit to myself. As this, C6 came around, and I was really like, all right, dude, you got to admit you like the car. Okay,
Hmm.
just say it. You like the car. And that was when C6 came around. When C7 came around, now it's like, okay, dude, like I'm done with the whole like trying to pretend like I don't like those cars. Because as far as I'm concerned, the C7 is the best looking sports car on the road. Like and I'm excluding like I would love to have like a Hurricane Performante. Like that to me is the ultimate looking sports car. But excluding some really extravagant stuff, I just love the way Corvettes look. The new Corvettes, they are really, really good looking cars.
Let me tell you, there's a badass right there. When you're talking around 100,000, I believe there's been some ZR1s that have gone that were used that were not much over
Well,
a
you can get
100.
them. Yeah, I mean, I know Street Speed was just looking at one for 130 the other day that I guess he had on the hook, and the lady backed out at the last minute after financing and everything was done. But that's again something I would have to at least look at. Now, knowing how I am and you know how much I've wanted that car for so long, it would be hard for me to not buy a GT500 and go buy a Corvette. It really
No, I get
would.
it. I get it.
Yeah,
But it's
but
hard. It's hard
realist,
to not look at
but
something
yeah,
like a
exactly. At that point, I at least have to look and be like, wow, like I could
because
possibly.
Corvettes are an excellent value. They're still don't move many, and and you could get probably a smoking deal on a Z06. You know, not that a Z06 is
I
exactly
agree with you, Jay. Like with the Porsche, but that's more of the street crowd. I feel the same way about Corvettes. Like a Corvette is like a grandpa's car on the street. you can't deny, like, if you're actually at the track with the track crowd, that Corvettes freaking kick ass and they're great track cars and they look good too. Same thing kind of goes for the 911s. Like on the street, yes, it's a freaking dentist car. Like it's, but at the
Right.
track, the GT3 is one of the kings, man. Like it's one of the best track cars you can buy. I mean, it beats cars that have a lot more power. It does. There is some type of magic that goes on with the GT3, or I would say the 911 GT platform. I mean, I'm still in awe over what that GT2 can do. Like, I know a lot of guys look to Nürburgring times and stuff like that, and it is impressive when you see one car that you know is capable, and then you see what like the GT2 RS can do, but it still doesn't translate the same way as it would on a track that you've actually been to. Might even hold like a couple local track records or something on, and to see what that thing can do there, I was in freaking awe. Like I cannot believe how fast that car is on track.
They got the combination of everything down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you just look at it on paper, this is one of the things that gets me so like passionate about how you know how upset I got earlier over it.
Yep.
That's one of the things that makes me so passionate about it because I've witnessed this stuff firsthand. I've seen like that car that has what does the GT2 RS have? Is it 700? Is it 750? I think it's right around what the GT500 has. I think it's 750 horse. Um, 750 horse. Yeah, it's probably a solid 1,000 pounds lighter than than GT500. But does that add up on paper? With the same amount of horsepower and 1,000 pounds lighter, I can guarantee you right now that that thing is probably 10 to 12 seconds a lap faster on a shortish track. So on a 2 mile or less track, it's probably 10 seconds a lap faster than what the GT500 would do around a track. And I mean, if you try to do your little paper estimates, it doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't because it's you know it's not all about those things like you said 15, 20 years ago. The technology was not nearly as close as it is today and refined, and rolling resistance and things like
That's
aerodynamics
what I
have been
mean.
fine
There's
tuned.
so many other little things that go into, we've talked about it before, like that go into how hard a car pulls in a straight line. And it's not just power and weight, it's gearing, it's roll resistance. How big are the tires? How big are the wheels? Like what's the drag coefficient? All of these things play into the whole story. And everybody thinks that you get the horsepower number and you got the story. That's it. That's all I need to know.
That's an uneducated person.
And I think that most people are aware that those things exist, but what they're not aware of is, yeah, PDK, exactly. What they're not aware of is how significant those things are. And one of the things that kind of opened my eyes to it was the 10R80. Like to see what that car can do by simply changing the transmission. It really kind of opened my. I've always been the kind that looks at all the facts. But that really opened my eyes to, like I said, I was always aware that it was there, but never really aware how significant can this potentially be. And it could potentially be night and day. It
Yeah, I
literally
have
can. It
to.
could be
I
night and
still
day.
have to, man. I still have to drive one of them. I've
And
still
when
got
I
to do it.
say and when I say 10R80 cars with a tune in them beat Hellcats, I'm not talking about like, oh, there was a glory run that my friend's cousin's sister's brother knows this guy who knows this kid who beat him. No, it's like a regular occurrence. Like look around. If you don't believe me, just take a little survey for yourself. Tune 10R80s on a drag radial, run high tens, low 11s all day.
Yep.
Guess what Hellcats on drag radials do?
High tens, low
Mid to
elevens.
low 11s all day.
Yep.
All day. I mean, 707 horsepower. The car only weighs 400 to 500 pounds more. Explain that. Explain how a car that has 200 less horsepower more than 200 less horsepower can do with a 400-pound weight advantage, can do that.
Yeah.
Doesn't, I mean, it doesn't add up until you start looking at outside of the box.
I definitely have to drive
No, the
one.
10R80, don't get me wrong, when it comes to, no, it's no DCT by any mean. But if we're talking about just all out performance, like pulling in a straight line, provided everything works properly, you'd be surprised how close the 10R80 probably is to a DCT. The difference is going to be the 10R80, I'll be the first to tell you, is not the most consistent transmission in the world. It slips, it misses gears, it hesitates, it hunts for gears. The on track, if we're talking about track performance, it's in nowhere near the same league as a DCT because the response time from the paddle shifters is not there. That you're just not going to get the response from it,
Yeah.
immediate response as you click the paddle. The car clicks into the next gear the way you do with a DCT. So no, I mean, as far as
I don't know
overall,
that it pays to even use that paddle unless you're just tootling around down and want to drag the gears out yourself.
right, and that's part of the secret with the 10R80. It's not necessarily that it shifts so fast like a DCT. It's that there's 10 gears and it keeps it in the power band. And the car, it's almost like having one gear. Like if in a
Yeah, like
perfect
a
world,
CVT.
you could have,
Yep.
yeah, right. In a perfect world, you could have the car just literally stay at max power if you were to look at a dyno graph. And that's essentially kind of what the 10R80 does. And that's why it's so fast at the drag strip, comparatively speaking to, if you're just one of those horsepower and weight guys that like to do that, make that little estimate on how fast a car is based on that. That's where cars of today will make you look like a fool because the way they're geared, how fast they can shift, how good they have the aerodynamics, all of this stuff. Yeah, I mean, I would never use the paddles on the drag strip. I let the car do its thing. But on track, what I've found is that if you don't use the paddles, a lot of times when you're rolling on the gas coming out of a corner, it'll actually try to downshift again, which is really bad if you've ever been on track before. That's
It
not.
would it could spin you out, right?
It upsets the suspension, is what it does. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, yeah, drag mode and drive. That's pretty much how I run it.
I gotta drive one, and then I gotta drive a like a 17 with a 6 speed automatic and see it's night and day. I understand, because
I
I
mean, really, honestly, dude, where you really becomes apparent is in a performance situation. Like, I think that's where a lot of people get lost in when they go looking for opinions, or you know, they're not being specific on what type of opinion they're looking for. Like, is the 10R80 good? Some people might, okay, I might be talking about how good it is driving to the grocery store and back, or are we talking about how good is it at the drag strip, or are we talking about how good is it on the road course?
I love my
Those are all three
10R80 in
totally
my
separate.
F-150. It's
What's
fantastic.
that?
I said that the 10R8 the 10 speed in my F-150 with the EcoBoost is fantastic. Now that it knows my driving style, you know what I
Well,
mean?
that's what I'm saying. So as far as daily driving, if you were to just go drive one, it would probably feel very similar to that.
But I
It's
mean,
just you
even
feel the
when you
magic
if you
of the
put your
10R80
foot
is
in it,
when,
it's
yeah,
shocking
that's
what that
that's
truck
when you
does.
feel the magic of the 10R80. Put it in drag mode and let it rip, and that's when you're going to be like, oh wow, this is not normal.
Right, right. Yeah, it's on the list to get to the dealer because I want to see
Yeah,
that
I'm
GT350.
sure it's no 720. I've never been in a 720 on track, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But I mean, take it out, dude. Like the Mustang is a lot of fun on track. It's a different type of fun. The 720's probably a scalpel, and the GT is going to be, the GT's fun. You slide it around, doesn't doesn't maintain traction quite as easily. They make fun. I mean, I've tracked quite a few GTs, not just the GT350s, and they are really fun on track until you have one of these there on the same day. That's a mistake. Don't do that. I've done that a few times, and I end up paying for track time on the GT, and like I don't even want to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I would have to disagree with that. Yeah. Because see, the thing is like you can't take a flat-chested girl to a wet t-shirt contest and impress anybody. But I guarantee you, I can take your GT to the road course and hand out quite a few ass kickings. Yeah, what's up, Ken? We're probably going to end it here pretty soon. I saw your live chat yesterday. Actually, like the last two or three you had, I tried to jump in and it was like the end, and then I got sidetracked. Last night, I don't know what I was doing. Oh, I know what I was doing. I was trying to freaking. I got to get my toolbox situated, man. I want to get. One of the main reasons I can't come out and work is because I open my toolbox and I just want to throw up, and then I go back in the house.
You need me to come to
So
your
I
house and
think
fix that up
I'm
for
gonna
you.
upgrade my socket game, and I'm gonna buy one of those. You guys should check it out. It's like foamfittools.com. There's a few videos on YouTube, and they make like these foam cutouts for all your sockets and stuff. And
I've
you could
seen
just tell them
something
what
like that.
sockets that you have, and they custom make them for you. And I mean, they are badass. Like
I've been
you can
looking
have like,
for an alternative to the old Craftsman. You know, you stick it on there, that little thing, and
oh, I
it
know that's what I was looking, dude. I'm telling you, go on, check out Foam Fit Tools.
I'll check it
They're
out. Yeah.
It is sweet, man.
I mean,
Because
because they
they
have
do like a
magnetic ones and
different
stuff
color.
now too that are better,
Yeah, they
but
do like a different color foam on the bottom. So, like, let's say you have a red foam on the bottom and then the black foam on top. They cut the black foam so your tool fits in it. So when
yep.
you take out the tool, like you see the red spot or the blue spot or whatever.
Do they have a
It looks
template for
so.
everything, or you got to send them your stuff?
No, well, they have like let's say Craftsman is common tool set. Like they have prefabbed ones that are like let's say you have the Craftsman 298 piece tool set. They have ones that are already made for that tool set, or the Husky 300 piece or whatever. They have ones already made for that. But you can also do custom stuff. Like you can call them and you can say, hey, look, I have this snap-on ratchet, these three snap-on ratchets, and I want a custom, you know,
Mm-hmm.
dude, they're like it's got me ready to like redo all my tools, and I really don't need to be spending money on that right now.
That's the only thing I really haven't done is the socket drawer. I've done the
But I
best
know
I
it's something
can.
that needs to be done because I swear it makes me I'm less productive because of it.
I
Like,
wouldn't doubt it.
and
I
I'm
wouldn't
not
doubt it.
mess. I'm honestly I could show you in here right now. I'm making it sound like my tools are messy. I'm not messy. It's just I can't find anything. I'm so tired. Like I get so aggravated when I come out to do something and it's always the one thing I need I can't find. And that's the one cool thing about these foam setups is like once you do a drawer, like this is my plier drawer, all the if you're missing a pair of pliers, dude, you're gonna know because there's a
Right.
big red
Yep.
white spot right there that's cut out for pliers.
That's kind of
Whereas like
nice. Kind
now,
of like when I was a kid in metal shop,
yeah,
we
like
used to have
now
the
I don't
things
know my
where you
hammer's
put every
missing
tool
until I
back on the
need it.
wall.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
Then when you need it, you're like, wait, where's my hammer? Wait, I could have swore. Where does my hammer even go? Yeah, I was thinking about that's funny you said that because I was gonna hit them up and ask them for multiple 10 millimeter spots. Like,
Yeah, because you always lose that, and then you keep buying
dude,
it.
I just found my 10 millimeter for my, and I'm still missing my deep well 3/8 10, but I just found my 1/4 inch and my 3/8 regular 10. See, my problem is I got the boat, the jet skis, the motorcycle, and the cars and the truck. So it's like I'm constantly I move my tool. I was just working on the boat. So did I leave it on the boat? No, it's in the jet ski. No, it's in the car. It's over here. It's in freaking track package. I never
Yep.
know where anything is. So I need setups places, and that's that. Oh, to be honest with you, dude, I probably have. I mean, I would never go on a journey looking for them, but yeah, I probably have at least 10 millimeters myself. It's just God only knows where they are. And there's one, two, three, four right there. But yeah, it's crazy. What is it about the 10 millimeter, man? It's like the devil's socket.
I don't know, man. That's a
All these
special
damn,
one.
speaking of sockets, real quick while we're on that subject, man, what is with all these damn companies skipping sockets? Like,
I don't
God,
know. I don't get that
I'm kind
either.
of OCD, so I don't know if this bothers you guys, but like, I buy the little socket organizers, and then, it comes four or five, and there's always one missing.
Yep.
And if you go to wherever you go, Snap On, even Snap On, they do the same shit. It's like you buy a socket, say, oh no, sorry, you don't get a 15. You don't really need that.
Yeah. Only
And
one out of
then, so
10
it's like,
people
oh, well, you
use a
can buy a
15.
single. Oh, great. So now I can go buy a single that doesn't, it's like a different height than the rest of my
Exactly. Oh
sockets.
yeah, man. No,
That
that would
drives,
annoy the
like,
shit
I
out
thought
of
I
me.
was the only one that bothers.
Oh, it bothers me, man.
I can't deal with it. That's why I go through so many socket sets. I always buy another socket set. I'm like, all right, this one's got the bit. All right, so I'm getting rid of the other socket set. We're getting this socket set.
Oh, jeez. What is your expectation with the way that car is going to launch, based on your knowledge of DCTs and that platform in general? I mean, you think it's going to hook and boogie, or is it just going to spin?
Dude, that I think it's gonna no, it's not gonna spin at all. I don't think.
Hmm.
Oh, have fun, bro. I guess Ken's headed to the track.
Oh, he's going to go have some fun. He always does, man. I got to come
Yeah.
out that way. Ford
Mhm.
uses a 5.5 millimeter.
But yeah, the dual clutch, man, they're pretty soft on launching
Mm-hmm.
as far as drivetrain shock and stuff like that. So I think that coupled with just, I'm sure they geared the car properly. Because you got to remember, dude, it's not a Mustang that somebody slapped a supercharger on to make 750 horsepower. It's something that was engineered for that to begin with. So
Right. Different story.
yeah,
Different
I mean,
ball game.
I'm sure it's in some scenarios it's potentially could spin for sure. But I think, especially if we're talking on a prep surface, if you take one to the drag strip, I don't think it's going to spin at all. 750 horsepower and all, I think it's just going to go.
That would be shot. That would be badass.
I mean, let's just say this. Now, again, we're on a drag radial, but my car has no problem leaving first gear on 150 shot in the 10R80. But yeah, the DCTs are even softer on the launch. So I would say that with launch control, dude, I think there's going to be some hurt feelings when it comes to, because I've been saying all along that this isn't a drag car. And honestly, I don't have like a dog in this fight. I don't care. Will I drag race the car? Yes. You know, I love drag racing. I like to drag race. It's another hobby of mine. But I honestly could care less if like it can beat a demon or anything else on the drag strip or anything else. But I think when it actually comes down to brass tacks, I think there's going to be a lot of butthurt people when they see what that thing can do
That
in a
was
straight
kind of my
line.
point. I didn't deliver the message, but everyone's saying it can't do this, can't do that.
Right. Oh, I
You
can't
don't
do
know
that. Oh, Ford
fucking
said it
jack
runs a high
shit
10.
yet,
Fail, fail, fail. Okay, so let me get this straight. We're comparing what a tire does on a prep surface to a street car and a street tire
Right.
and claiming victory. Like, okay, like
That's
if we're going to make a drag racing comparison, let's do it like
like
realistically, apples to
for
apples,
real,
like both
like
cars on drag
apples to
radials.
apples.
Yeah, somewhat apples. I know there's no such thing as true apples to apples. They're two different cars. So then it's not apples to apples.
Exactly.
But let's just say, like, if we're doing a drag race on a prep surface, why is one car on drag radials and one not? Like,
Let's stop being
let's just,
stupid about it.
especially since technically the other one doesn't come on drag radials either. You have to fucking put them on.
Hmm.
That and everything else that makes the car fast, you have to put on afterwards. So I'm
And
not trying to get in.
like you said before, it's not in production. It doesn't even matter.
Right. I mean, really, but that's why I don't care about. That's why I don't, honestly, why I don't like arguing about that kind of shit is because really, I don't care if it's something's production or not. So I feel like an asshole for like keep saying like, oh, the demon's not stock. I don't care that it is or isn't stock. What I care about is the people that like get so passionate about it and like they're really like frankly ignorant. You know what I mean? They don't know what they're talking about.
That's right.
It's not a stock car. It's not stock when you modify it. Like, it comes off the showroom floor. You opened up a box full of parts. How is that any different than me ordering a box full? Like, come on, bro.
Well,
You opened up a box full
it
of
was
drag
only
parts, a floor jack, and a fucking impact wrench. Dude, come on.
Yeah.
And you got to tune it. You got to put race gas in it. You got to take the dash out and put a switch in it. You got to take your air intake out and put. Dude, if it's all, why couldn't they put the intake in it that comes, like, if it's stock, why didn't it come with?
Because it's not legal for road use that way.
Okay. Exactly.
I would assume it doesn't pass emissions either that way either. It's an assumption, but
Well, actually, that's what I told you earlier, dude. There is a memo on the car that comes with the car that straight up says none of this shit is to be used on street. It's not legal for the street. Your dealer's not allowed to freaking put this shit on before you buy your car. Like, the 9.6 was done with glue sprayed all over the tires. Like, dude, like I said earlier, the marketing, that's one thing I'll give people when they say, oh, the marketing on the Demon was great. Yes, the marketing was great. I do marketing for a living. You know what great marketing is by definition? I hate to say it.
but it's bullshitting.
Exactly. Like, that's what marketing is, dude. It's being deceitful.
Yep.
Like,
That's a better way to put it.
In the most non-deceitful way. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what Dodge nailed. They made people think that they were getting something that really isn't all that much to brag about.
And
like,
the other thing too is I've seen more on one occasion people saying, oh, well, they don't advertise the GT500. Where's the marketing? And I said it. They don't have to advertise that car.
Marketing is exactly.
They just got to
marketing
tell you
is
when
exactly
it's on
what it
sale,
sounds like.
and every fucking one is going to go.
It's marketing is exactly what it sounds like. It's a campaign
to sell something.
Sell something. And since I'll bet anybody that wants to make this wager right now that they will sell every single GT500 they build, in what way was their marketing poor?
It wasn't. They didn't need to spend millions of dollars.
The reason why you're saying their marketing was poor is because you want some information that you're not getting. So you're calling a company's marketing poor because you wanted information that you're not getting, and Dodge gave that information to people. So therefore, their marketing is good and their marketing is bad.
Yep. I don't get it. I'll never get that argument. But then again, you can't talk to people with reason.
I'm not an anti-Dodge guy.
I actually buy a Challenger tomorrow. I think it's one of the cars on my short list.
No, I'm just saying though, like I'm not an anti-Dodge guy. I'm an
idiot guy.
There you go. Like, that's what I was trying to look for a nice way to say that. Like, I'm not an Mopar guy. I'm an anti-idiot guy.
Yep, I am too. It's just it's hard to it doesn't compute.
Like, the whole whether or not it's stock thing is stupid to begin with, because let's be honest with each other. What guy that's serious about running a 9-second quarter mile gives a shit about whether or not a car's stock? Is there anybody in here? Does anybody in
Probably not.
If you're out there chasing a 9-second quarter mile, do you care if the tires came from Dodge or if you had to buy them? Like, does that matter?
That's right. No, it doesn't matter.
But, clear, like, that's a winning factor that, it's stock. Like, okay, but it's not stock, but I'd rather just not argue back and forth.
I don't know.
In a never-ending loop about it. You know what I mean?
People have a good time believing their version of the truth, which is an opinion, and using it as fact. And unfortunately,
well, and that's where I would do the same thing. It may come off like I'm like biased and anti-Dodge, but honestly, I would do the same thing if Ford came out and said the GT500 is going to run a 9.6 in the quarter mile, and it came out and it does a 10.30 on its best day with a box full of modifications and race gas, I would say the same shit. I would say Ford lied. Yep. You guys are all freaking blind to the facts, and like you hear what you want to hear and see what you want. I would say the same shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and I'd be equally as pissed off as a consumer and say, well, how did they get away with it? Well, because it's marketing. Simple.
Yeah, but you know how many times I've read in the YouTube comments already on Stang Mode's videos or on Xander's videos or on my videos or anybody else's videos that, well, the GT500's a fail if it can't run a 9.6 in the quarter. What? The Demon can't run a 9.6 in the quarter. Right. So what the fuck? How's that a fail?
Well, because, you know, I don't even know what motivates people to say shit like that, but, you know,
Well, I
if they
told you
owned
earlier, it's
one
because
and said,
people
"Hey, I run
like
it.
to
Here's my time
pretend like
slip."
they're educated, but they're not. Like people like to pretend like they're in the know when they're not. People like
Right.
to pretend they're, race car drivers when they're not.
That's right. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't get it.
you should pour me a few. I definitely need a few shots. I do.
I need
He gets
something
me
too.
fired up. He knows exactly. This is all planned. He's got like a bunch of shit written down. He's like, yeah, this is gonna get
Yeah,
Steve
man, I got
freaking
nothing.
fired up. He's got.
I got my phone.
If you zoom in around his table, it says demon all around his table right now because he
I've
knows.
got a hat. Yep. I've been sending him YouTube links of demons for weeks now.
Yeah, he's been sitting here sending me like
Getting them cranked
GT500
up.
sub videos like all over the place.
Oh, jeez. I tell you. Well, you don't have to worry about the demon. It's no longer in production. But the red eye is
That's
going
the
to whip
other
your ass.
that's my closing argument. You know what? If you want to have a closing argument on the whole demon versus GT500 thing, what demon?
Yep. It ain't made no
What
more.
demon? They don't make a demon anymore. They built them for 1 year. They built a few thousand of them. They were sold out like immediately, and that's that. They're gone. They don't make that car no more. So let's talk about the Hellcat Red Eye because that would be the competition. Even though, if you want my opinion, that still isn't that. I bet you they didn't even, as many cars. I bet you they benchmarked versus the GT500. I would be willing to wager that they didn't even benchmark versus
No, it
any
was
Dodge
pointless.
product
It's not in the same category.
because it's not in the exactly. They weren't looking for the same type of right. Exactly. That's exactly what it was. They're not there for the same things, you know. But with that said, I'd be willing to bet anybody that the GT500 will beat the Red Eye in every single performance measurement. Every single
I,
performance measurement.
I, I don't have any doubt, and that's why I'm not
Well, actually, I
about
take
to.
that back. I take that back. It won't beat it in top speed, theoretically, because of the governor on the GT500 and the theoretical 200-mile-an-hour top speed. However, as somebody that's been probably faster than most people have probably been and has thousands and thousands of track laps under his belt, you couldn't pay me to take a fucking red eye over 200 miles an hour.
No,
Like, I would not drive that car 200 miles an hour.
I
Like,
wouldn't
I could
even
just
drive
look
it
at that car and tell
160
you that
miles
that
an
would
hour.
be the sketchiest fucking thing you ever do in your life is taking that car to 200 mile an hour. Like, I'm not taking a 5,000-pound sled to 200 mile an hour. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Plus, not to mention, like, where could you ever even do 200 mile an hour? Because there isn't a track in this country you'd be able to hit 200 mile an hour on.
Oh, people do it all the time on YouTube. Got to be some
Yeah,
place to do it, right?
yeah. I mean, people do a lot of things on YouTube that I wouldn't do.
Oh shit, man.
Yes, the GT500 was benchmarked versus the ZL1 and the 911, and that's something that I'm somewhat in the know. I know some people personally that know some people, and
Interesting that it's against the 911. That's a totally different ball game, isn't it? You know.
no, it's absolutely the same ball game.
Well, how
But
you're
if you're
talking
thinking
about?
NA versus like supercharged type thing, but as far as like the goal of the car is the same thing. You know what I'm saying? The goal of
I
the
do know
car
what you're
is
saying now, but I mean, it's really you would never. I would never put a Mustang, regardless of version, in the same category as a 911 to me, or nine or whatever the nine Porsche
I
was.
said in this country. I said there's nowhere in this country you can. There's no tracks in this country, and plus the autobahn's not a track; it's a road. Like, do they even sell those in Germany? Like, I don't know. That's just a
Well,
dumb argument. Let me just say that. That would be my opinion. That's a dumb argument. It does 200 on the autobahn in another country, like where nobody will ever get to bring one. You
right.
see my point? Like, I'm not trying to like discredit things. I'm just trying to say that people bring up stuff as a point, and it's such like not even discussable. It's laughable. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, the demon does, or the red eye can do 200 mile an hour, and the 500 can't. But you can't actually go 200 mile an hour anywhere. So why is it even useful? The matter of fact, the reason why the GT500 probably can't do 200 mile an hour is to make it faster from zero to what it can actually do on a track somewhere.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? If you
And use
if you
that
let the
power
car
and the
do
range
200
it
mile an
needs.
hour and it can only do, let's say, some of the fastest tracks in the country, just off the top of my head, Road America, VIR, Road Atlanta. You're not gonna. Oh, I didn't realize you were in Germany. You were born in Germany. My bad. These tracks, you can't get a really fast car above 160, 170 mile an hour. You know, so where is it usable? That's all I'm saying. Yes, theoretically, you could take one on the highway, you could plug one out to 200 mile an hour and post it on YouTube. Yeah, there's the Autobahn in Germany. There are some places on this planet where it could happen. I'm just saying, I just find it laughable to use something as an example that, like, 1% of 1% of the world will actually ever get a chance to do. And I'm not talking about your comment. I'm talking about people that say, well, the GT500 sucks because it can't do 200 mile an hour. No, it doesn't, because there's nowhere to do 200 mile an hour.
Yeah, it's a useless feature. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It's another bragging fact. That's what I was saying before. People now are more concerned with having bragging rights, like having things that they can brag about, and they're less concerned with, hey, this car's actually a better car. Forget about that. Like, forget about this car's actually the faster car. This car's actually quicker on track. This car actually stops better, turns better, accelerates faster. It doesn't do 200 mile an hour, which nobody will ever get a chance to do. Fail.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. We really had it. If you guys think this is cranked up, this is because people are saying you're cranked up. No, you're actually not that cranked. He's kind of reserved,
I'm
guys. He was
actually not.
cranked
Yeah,
up
I was
this
just gonna say,
afternoon. I told him we missed an opportunity at YouTube stardom this
you guys
afternoon.
should have had our earlier conversation,
I should have taped
because
it.
you have to remember, earlier I was like, well, number one, I was at work still, so there's that.
Yep.
Always stressed during that time. And then I had just read the pricing guide on the GT500 and found out about the $25,000 in options that I'm going to need. So,
Right.
yeah, I wasn't in the best of spirits.
You were on a roll, though, man. Damn.
I think we're going to have to end the stream, though, guys. It's been
Yeah,
fun.
we're gonna
Hopefully,
wrap it
we'll be able
up.
to do it again. I want to get back into the stream. I kind of miss doing it, to be honest with you.
Hey, man, you know where I am. I still got to work on my lighting or something because I don't know if it's the distance
I kind of
away.
like doing it in the garage. It's cool having the car and shit in the background.
Hey, just think of how much weight you'll lose in that garage. I'll go in
Because
mine one
probably
time too.
won't see. Another thing is this thing's gonna go, guys. There's no way that I'm gonna be able to keep that thing and get the GT500. It's not possible.
Oh, the 200 mile an hour motorcycle?
Yeah, I mean, at some point, hopefully, I'll get another one. Maybe it'll just be like a used track bike. Maybe I might buy like a little $2,500, bike, just that I could take on the track and not have a payment on. Or maybe next year I'll get another, like, R1 or something, not an R1M, but just like a regular R1. Um, it is only money. I agree. That's how I absolutely feel about money. So me getting rid of the bike is only because I need that money, not because I want to save finance and put it away for taking it with me to my grave. Like, I don't. I'm definitely not that kind of person. I like spending money. That's what it's for. Buy lights from where? Yeah, I actually have a couple other studio lights in here. The problem is like I'm all the way up against the wall right now. This is the first time I ever did it in the garage, and all the lights I have would be like behind me. So like when I tried to turn them on before the stream, it literally like washes out everything in the background.
We're gonna set up your phone, dude, so you don't have to take this whole rig out there. For
I,
seven
dude,
dollars,
if I
it's
could
worth
get
it.
rid of the life, that would be it right there.
It's for $7 to get it to work.
$7 to get rid of my wife? Deal.
No, no, no. To get the phone to do you say you don't need the laptop. I still need to host it this way, but that's different. I'm starting to think the distance away is my problem because I don't look as, I mean, I look old as shit and beat up, but I feel like it's clearer when I'm closer. So I have to change something with my aspect ratio on my camera here.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're gonna end this one.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
I got a few videos that I got planned. I've got like 2 or 3 little projects I'm working on the 350R right now. Unfortunately, they're all like really expensive, except for one little project I'm doing. Hold on. Yo. All right, come through the garage door, side door. All right, bye. So yeah, I got a few other little projects that I'm working on the 350R. And then what else? Oh, we're probably going to do a video on my ordering specs for the GT500, which is really what I've kind of been excited about, guys. For a long time, I've been waiting to start the whole journey of like the buying process, the ordering process, the delivery process when the car comes, and all that stuff. So now that we have the order guide and pricing in hand, I've actually already got my specs together. I sent them to my dealer tonight. So I'll probably do a video here pretty soon showing you guys what I'm ordering. So that's it for this one.
All right, thanks for everybody. I'll talk to you later, brother.